Hey there, this is Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com with more secrets to unlock his heart. Today we're going to talk about 3 steps to get a guy to ask you out without him knowing. After all, sometimes you meet a guy and you realize, hey, he could be a good guy, could be a good possible boyfriend, could also be a guy you meet in a bookstore or see in a bookstore and you just want to catch his eye. Well, this is the point. You gotta make a move, some kind, but you don't want to be the one to do everything. You gotta get him involved. What you need is a good strategy to get him to ask you out and start the romantic fire. But first, I got to give you 3 simple things that you can't do to ask a guy out. First off, don't do that third grader trick of sending him an email with a suggestion subtly planted somewhere inside that you two should go out sometime. Men are notoriously obtuse. He'll probably miss it, and then of course you feel weird for putting it out there in case he did see it, and now the next time you have to bring it up, you sound pushy. Don't do that. The other one is don't make that corny and dumb comment or have your friend do that dumb comment of, oh, you two make such a cute couple. That's not going to work. It's probably going to backfire on you if he wasn't already thinking about you that way. And lastly, of course, don't be fake or manipulative to get his attention. No matter how much you think it's going to get you the result, ultimately you still have to own up to that deception. Okay? And keep in mind, a guy only puts a woman into the friend zone temporarily. Okay? It's not a permanent thing. The same way it is with women, they tend to put guys into the friend zone for good. A guy won't. A guy has his eye typically on one woman that he's infatuated with, and all other women become kind of maybes. So you might be on the maybe list, which means you might feel like you're not a priority, but that's okay. He will still consider you for a love interest. So step 1 to get him to ask you out is to make him notice you. No matter what the situation is, you got to get him to see you in some way. Otherwise, he could pass you up for some other girl that happens to run into him at the right time. The best way to do this is eye contact. Literally catching his eye. Just lock eyes with him for a second or two and then look down and away. And if you really want to lock this one in, give him a little smile. Now, I'm amazed that most women don't really understand this fine art of visual flirting, but it really works. Use your eyes to put out that invite. Some guys are, again, incredibly clueless when it comes to when a woman is in her flirt zone, so you got to be willing to do maybe a little bit more. So step number 2 is, of course, start the conversation. Talk is the essence of all short-term or long-term hookups, so you got to talk to them. So take a clue from the pickup artists who actually have a really good technique for this. It's called the opinion opener. An opinion opener is a simple way to start a conversation by asking somebody for their opinion about something. All right, it's that easy. And just ask his opinion about a purchase you're planning to make, like a gadget, like a new phone or a tablet or a car, whatever it may be. Ask him what he's thinking about it. And just remember, though, a guy needs to believe that there might be a slightly mystical element of fate in your connection. Yeah, believe it or not, guys are romantic this way. So feel free to throw in a little comment like, hey, why is it we haven't met before? That's actually going to be a great trigger to tell him, maybe she is a possibility. Now, remember, though, a guy may want to ask you out, but when he realizes that you like him a lot more than he likes you, he might lean back a little bit just to see what you're going to do about it. But it's doubt that will kick him back into gear to pursue you, which is where you want him and where you need him. So don't do too much of his work for him. That brings us up to step number 3 of this process, which is weaving your way in. You never need to put yourself completely on the line by expressing your interest to him, and you don't ever have to verbalize your attraction to him either. But sometimes you have to find more assertive ways to get him to see that there's a possibility here, okay? That's where weaving your way into his life can actually be a really effective way of getting the date. Try one of these tactics. Try the check it out tactic. Just ask him if he wants to check out a new bar or restaurant that opened up, and, well, there you go. You're sitting there for a dinner or a drink, and you get a little time to work your feminine wiles on him. There's also the already doing it tip. This is where you can tell him that you're going to go grab a coffee or you're going someplace that he might like, and to see if he wants to come along with you. It's an indirect but casually exciting way for a guy to just hang out, and hang out over maybe a cup of Java is a great way to do it. The key to this one that makes it legit, though, and this is important, and you don't want to use just some phony trick, is that you should really already be going out doing that thing, okay? Don't call him up and then if he says, no, I can't make it, you don't go and do it. Go and do it anyways. Because otherwise, the next time you do it, you might have that vibe of caring a little bit too much if he says yes or no. And guys can actually pick up on that one. There's also the hit a movie strategy. One of the easiest ways to get a guy out is just to go see a movie. You can keep it very open-ended with no intentions. And if you really want to be sure he's going to say yes, well, pick out an action flick maybe he hasn't seen. Put the rom-com on the back burner. There's also the ask him for help technique. This one's kind of a variation on the theme of asking for his opinion on something. Because if there's anything a guy loves to do more than share his opinion, well, it's help out a woman in need. Our rescuer instinct runs very deep, milady, and if you don't take advantage of this, you're crazy. Go take a look around your place right now. I'll bet you've got some things that need some fixing or tweaking. And the easiest thing to do is just call them up, start some chit chat, and then mention that something needs fixing around the house. Or you can even text him at random and say, hey, you know how computers work? It's a slam dunk that he'll be over there helping you with your tech issues. Let's just call him that. Remember, the best sign of a good possible relationship between two people is that you have two things in common, two things in your foundation. One is physical chemistry. It's the easy part, usually, for most romantic couplings, but the second part is that friendship foundation. This is the stuff you have in common, interests and attitudes that will keep you going through those difficult patches. And in order to succeed as a couple, you need both. It's a simple equation and it never lets you down. And if you'd like to learn more about the signals that tell a guy whether you're his soulmate, the woman he wants and can't live without, well, I encourage you to go on over to watch my presentation on the soulmate signals. These are the surefire triggers that tell him you're the one. Go on over to datingadviceguru.com/soulmates. That's datingadviceguru.com/soulmates. This is valuable stuff. You can't afford to not know what signals a guy is looking for. I'll talk to you again soon. This is Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com.